Hey guys, Hannah Bell, family lawyer with a family law pro tip. Now, some of mine are kind of cheery and fun and helpful and practical. And what I want to talk about today, or what's sort of on my mind, is practical, but it's painful. And it's about how to think about and conceptualize your children and your family during and after divorce. Now, I try to explain to people who are going through this or who have gone through this what it took me a while to learn. And that's that before you get divorced, you are what I call a four corners family. And there may be, in your family, depending on how many kids, you may have lots of corners, but basically you're this unit. And you have, spouse A and spouse B, typically mom and dad and the kids, right? And that's your world. The kids, they don't know any other options. They don't really know much about choice or that things could be any different way, okay? Because their entire universe is this one little world. And often, ladies, I'm talking to us in that four corners universe, we feel very in control of the situation, right? I mean, at least to some extent, when you're getting divorced or, so that something lost control. But in general, as far as it comes to your kids in particular, you know what they're doing all the time. You know where they are. You know who they're with. You are worried about is their name on their lunchbox, and are they going to have fun on a field trip? And this weekend when they go to the birthday party, you've already thought about the Lego thing you're going to get. Okay, but after divorce, you're going to lose all of that semblance of control, because you're no longer a four corners family. It's split. Now, it can be rebuilt. The healthiest way is to rebuild this in a different way. And some people do that. And that is the ideal situation. And you can think about it as sort of a, putting Humpty Dumpty back together again, right? That it looks different but can still work. But for a lot of the rest of us, that's not really an option. And so you have to, I think if you name it to tame it, right? So if you can put your head around this and understand this just is what it is, then you can manage that reality, okay? So one of the hardest things to convey is what the introduction of options and choice in different family structures, how that changes a child's brain. And it really depends on what age they are. But kids aren't made when they're 6, 7, 8, 10 years old to be put into situations where they kind of have to discern better and liking one thing more, or the way things are at a different house, and sort of having those two worlds to compare. Well, at mom's, we always do it like this. Well, at dad's, and my stepmom and my stepdad and all of that, okay? It starts to put some of that control and agency inside these little bitty hearts, where it would be best if that was, psychologists can say, I'm not trying to be a psychologist. I'm just trying to say what I know personally and what I know from this job is they start to get that locus of control and of options, and it changes them, okay? That innocence, that sort of real clear worldview that they had is shattered. It's the high cost of doing this. And that's why in a lot of my videos, I'm like, look, when the cost of leaving, this is the cost of leaving. This is what I'm talking about, okay? It's the broken four corners world. And their whole little world has changed. And with that, their innocence goes, okay? It just is a fact. Because they know some hard lessons right away. Life is hard. Pain, the feeling of always missing someone. That's what I think kids say a lot. They always have to miss someone. And the conflict and all that can really ramp things up. But what you've got to get to in a place in your heart is a letting go. And the sooner you can get there in your mind, the better off you're going to be. Because divorce can make you better, or it can make you bitter. It's going to do one or the other, okay? I always say, let's choose to be better and not bitter. But a lot of people don't make that choice. So don't let that be you, okay? But if you decide to be better, and you decide to try to learn some of these lessons in the beginning, you're going to save everybody in your life, particularly you, a lot of heartache, because there's this letting go. And I think for moms, it's particularly hard. Like, oh, well, it's like you're letting go of the authoritarian role you had as the mom, like of knowing every little thing. Because you know what, when they go to dad's or they go to your ex-spouses or your, baby daddy or mama's house or whatever, it's not any of your business what they're doing over there. I mean, as long as they're safe, they're not injured, they're not, those sorts of core things, that is your business. But who they're with, the birthday party, this and that, how they do, when they brush their teeth, people are like, well, they don't ever brush their teeth over there. Like, well, make sure and brush them real good at your house. I mean, there's nothing I can do about that. Okay, it's this seeding control. It's this letting go. And it's going to happen whether you like it or not. So you might as well flow with it, okay? And the way I try to think about it is when they're, there, I just don't give it a ton of thought because it can really stress you out and make you super anxious. And if you're an anxious or, have depression tendencies or any of those things, I personally don't. So for me, I just admit that it might be a little easier for me. So I'm not trying to say for others that it can be as simple as, well, don't think about it. I mean, it's not that you don't think about it. You just, I think keep yourself busy. I think have your own life, and that's what you can do, is create your own life and your own happiness and your own hobbies and interests and reading and church or books or whatever is your thing, going to the river. Do that to keep yourself busy and just accept that they're going to be over there and it's going to go the way that it's going to go. And there's really not much you can do about it. All right. And the sooner you get there, the better off you're going to be. And the better off your kids will be, right? So I think in the pro tip is your kids are going to change in this process. They're not a member of a Four Corners family anymore. You need to accept it. And that's hard. It's probably the hardest part, I think. And I think a lot of people, it takes some years to get it. And those of my long timers, you know what I'm talking about, sort of this letting go. And the sooner you can do that, the better off you'll be. Name it, tame it, understand what it is, and get ahead of it. And as I say all the time in my videos, it's not over or under, it's only through. And this is one you got to go through. So we can talk to you about that and help you think through ways to do it. I think probably mental health people are better to talk to about this, especially one that's experienced with divorce and experienced with kids of divorce. I know some great ones. If you're interested, just reach out to me and I'll be happy to connect you with some of those. Or if you're a mental health professional, hey, that has some tips or advice, I'd love to hear from y'all about a way to navigate this change the best that we can. Thanks, guys.